Hi, I'm Pete from Crafty Caravanners. In today's video, I'm going to revisit the subject of USB points in our caravan. We've done a video previously showing how to put some USB points in the van, but today we feel we need more USBs. After all, who doesn't need more USB? Here are some of the parts that we'll be adding to our caravan today. The first item is this little Berker plug. We're in a Swift Caravan, they tend to use the Berker style plug. Rather expensive for what they are, but they fit in and look very nice once the job is complete. The second item is one of these cigarette lighter style USB charger sockets, and that's actually going to go under one of the seats. There is more to today's video than just fitting some USB power. I'm also going to be making provision for a 4G antenna. We'll speak of this 4G antenna later. Here's a collection of some of the stuff I'm going to be using today. The USB sockets themselves, the fuse link, some 3-amp fuses, multimeter for checking continuity. I've also set myself up a soldering station. I have some heat shrink, some spade connectors. I've got a length of wire which is behind me at the moment. I've already pre-drilled the holes. I didn't think there was any point boring you with watching me trying to operate a drill. So those are in. The first hole I drilled was in the unit that surrounds the existing power distribution. So there's the 12 volt and the mains voltage. Down below over here there's plenty of space in the surround to accommodate for this USB charger socket. I did give it a very careful look and feel down below there. Disconnected the mains and everything before drilling to make it as safe as possible. It's absolutely clear there's a good 6 inches at the back past the drill, but I also made sure I drilled very slowly and very carefully. I didn't want to damage a cable or anything back there. This is what's meant by a Berker style socket, as popular in Swift caravans and motorhomes. This one is the one that I've already popped the cover off using a flat screwdriver very carefully, is where I'm going to be installing one of those. This is the unit at the front of the caravan, showing where we're going to go, and the one I'm not going to touch today. There's our 4G antenna. It's got suckers that stick to the side of the caravan. At the moment the cable is just running down here and into the leisure battery box, EHU unit and motor mover relay. I've drilled a second hole at the side, just big enough to allow this cable to go through. For my next trick, I'm going to be working close to where the mains electricity is. EHU is disconnected for this part. This cover is loose already. I'll just go ahead and lift it up. Let's go ahead and take out the blanking plate. It's a bit dusty back here. And then again, who takes these covers off to go and clean underneath? Certainly not me. Blanking plate off. Not going to get very far with those two wires. As usual, these things are slightly harder than they first appear to be, but not terrible. There were 5 screws holding this thing in place, which I've now loosened. You can now see which way the wire routes from this unit. So I'm going to go ahead and thread a length of cable from the hole down the wire route and underneath the front seat here. There we go. From the top down behind the front chest, follow the mains wiring down underneath the Aldi heating radiator, around the back of it. I brought it out to the front over here, give myself plenty of slack to work with. I'm now going to strip down the cable, put some heat shrink over the top, tin the ends and get ready for soldering. We're going to need some electricity to power the soldering iron. I've also got a heat gun. That plug over there has got no exposed wiring. I'll carry on, it looks safe. Last time I did this job I used a cigarette lighter. Not recommended. This is much better. It's disappointing that the £35 I spent on this Berker socket did not include a couple of self-tapping screws, but fortunately the handy blanking plate over here did, so I'll just go ahead and take those out. Alright, there we are. Let's get it screwed in. So it's going to have to be this hole and the one diagonal. Make sure that plate aligns nicely. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Just a gentle tap and a snap. It's in. Over here we have the end of the wire that's connected to the Berker socket that's just been installed. Over here is another length of wire. What I'm going to do now is get this socket installed in that hole. We're going to connect both of those wires to it and also install a fusible link. Okay, those wires are ready for crimping onto the spade connectors. Yeah, fits in very nicely. Handily color coded, blue to blue I guess, 2.5, 2.5. And one for good luck. Crimped, and that will just simply connect red to positive, black to negative. There is a wire running from the Berker socket. Fairly neat, that's out of the way of everything that matters. We never use this cupboard over here for storage anyway. Spin off the fixing ring there. Oh, that was a mistake, wasn't it? These wires need to come out again through the fixing ring like that, and then back out through the hole. There we go. I'll hold that little fixing ring in place. Push these wires back a little bit. We'll now pop them on. Black to black. Red to red. Offer it up. Looks perfect. It's the only awkward part really of the whole operation. Doing a bit of a feel for it over here. The plastic ring needs to find the thread. There it's on. Spinning now. Right, that's tight enough. And there we have the fusible link soldered and heat shrinked in place. One job is remaining. I need to prepare the other end of the cable and get it connected up to the leisure battery. What I've done here is bend the copper wire around into a round shape, and I've tinned it. I've put some solder on it to make it sort of semi-rigid, and this is going to go and connect to the screws on the battery terminals. Before I go and tuck this fuse holder out the way, I've put a 3 amp fuse in there. I've slid out the leisure battery and I've poked the cable through a handy hole. There were 2 drilled right at the top of this battery box. The positive connector I've already sprung it off. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to loosen the screw over here, just a fraction, and hook the cable underneath the screw. That's in. Pop it off. That's not coming off. Right, pop these connectors back into place. There we go. I gave that battery strap just a little bit too much force and snapped the buckle. So I guess I'll be buying another one of those before we go away. I've just tied a knot in it for now. Even though that's not going to do anything really. Just got to remember to replace that. There is a hole I drilled earlier. Finish it off with a Dremel bit to get the 4G antenna cable through inside the caravan. No job's complete until the testing is done. I've got this handy neon sign that has a USB connector. We have the socket down here. It's acting as a voltmeter and it's saying there's 13.6 volts in the leisure battery. Flip the top off. There is a power button. Yeah, it does actually turn off. That's quite handy. I might replace the other ones with sockets like this. USB plugged in and neon sign works. Excellent. Let's try this one out. Yes, that works. Happy days. The point of having USB under the seat is this thing. This is our Netgear router. It gives us the internet when we are away caravanning. We hardly ever use the television area. We're always streaming, and this guy has an unlimited SIM in terms of the speed and in terms of the amount. So this thing is truly unlimited. Here's the other end of the cable that was connected to the 4G antenna. These are the connectors that are supplied. There is an adapter. And there we have the router connected to an external 4G antenna. And the whole point of having the plug under the seat was to have a USB connector for the router, and the other end will plug into the outlet under the seat. What I'm probably going to do is get some velcro tape, attach the velcro tape to the back and stick it just above the new USB outlet. I think that will work very well in there. Yeah, I guess the proof is in the pudding, so let's go and plug it in and see what happens. Well, there's the router in its temporary home. I've not velcroed it yet. The cable could also do with a better routing, but there's plenty of spare cable should I want to mount that external antenna higher on a pole or something. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect to the Wi-Fi on my iPad over here, and we'll use a speed test. That's a respectable 44. It's usually quite rubbish here in the driveway. The antenna makes an enormous difference. Thank you for watching today's video. I really hope you found it interesting. If so, why not leave a comment down below? So that's it for today. Bye.